You said only reply with exactly what they ask? Got it, by user OKMoose1591. I used to work at a logistics company where we handled shipping for big retail clients. One client was notoriously rude and always sent short, unclear emails asking for updates, then they'd get angry if we gave too much information or didn't phrase things exactly how they wanted. After one too many complaints, our manager pulled us into a meeting and told us, from now on, just answer exactly what they ask, nothing more, nothing less, no extra info, no small talk, only what's in their message. I asked, even if I know they're going to follow up asking for the rest? And he said, yes, let them. So the next morning, that same client emailed me. Where is truck 4810? That's all they wrote, no greeting, no detail. So I replied. On the road. A few minutes later. ETA? I replied. 3:42 p.m. Then came. Driver's name? I answered that. Then. Does it have the right pallets? Yes. Dock 3 or 6? Dock 3. Did you inform the receiver? Yes. This went on for 10 back and forth emails, each one with a single question, each one answered with exactly what they asked. Eventually, they CC'd my manager and wrote, "Why are your employees being so unhelpful? We need proactive communication." My manager replied, "We've instructed our staff to answer exactly what's asked, as per your previous requests." After that, their emails suddenly became more polite and clear, and my inbox became a lot quieter too. My jacket isn't corporate approved? Neither are any of the other ones here, by user go_hakuna_your_tatas. ETA, wow, I didn't really expect this to blow up. Me and my partner thank you for all the updates. I woke him up this morning telling him his story got 1,500, at the time, upvotes, and he was confused, then laughed after I explained it. This is my boyfriend's story, not mine, full disclosure, but he gave me permission to put it up, he's just too lazy to and doesn't have read it. He framed this story by proudly telling me his boss learned who not to be petty with today. While working in the back of the store, my partner was wearing his personal sweater, he was between a break room and a freezer and couldn't be seen by any customers. His manager, who just got there, immediately got on his case. He tried to explain reasonably, he'd have it on for maybe 15 minutes max and remove it before going back out onto the floor. The manager refused, and begins pestering him and telling him he needs to remove it immediately, under the reasoning it wasn't corporate approved. Malicious compliance. The jackets they use for their coolers? Not corporate approved. The gloves they use in the same coolers? Not corporate approved. The communications system they use to talk amongst themselves in the store? Not corporate approved. An hour or so later, my partner is going about his janitorial and stocking duties, having to work in the cooler to restock. Every 5 to 10 minutes, he'd come out of the freezer, shivering and trying to warm up. After about 20 minutes of this, the same manager wandered over to them critically. "What are you doing?" "Stocking the freezer, but it's pretty cold in there." "Well, why don't you go grab a jacket and some gloves?" "Oh, because if you actually read our employee book surrounding our uniform, these technically aren't corporate approved either." The manager grumbled and wandered off, only coming to find him in another hour and a half. "I've been trying to reach you over the commutations system for the last 20 minutes, why aren't you responding?" "Oh. That's because they're actually not corporate approved, unfortunately." "You're really going to be this petty?" "I don't know what you're talking about, I'm just following corporate standards." It went like this for his entire 7-hour shift. At the end of his shift, the manager wandered up to him with an exasperated look. "I get it. Okay. I need to know how to pick my battles." "You absolutely do." If I didn't know him personally, I probably wouldn't have believed he actually said that to them, but he almost certainly does. He cares very little what anyone thinks, lol. Take you to court? Okay, by user Casserole 422. This was many years ago, so I apologize if some of the details are incorrect. 'Was the year of our Lord 2006, my big sister had just started driving on her own. My parents did as most parents did at the time, they bought her the biggest pile of shit car that they could find. Relatively reliable, but it was a mid-80s gold Geo Metro. It was a beater, rusty, dented, and dinged, very ugly, and importantly for this story, one of the mirrors was duct taped on. One afternoon in the fading light, she was driving to our local Pizza Hut to pick up her paycheck. On that fateful day, as the sun was going down, someone in a big black suburban type of vehicle backed into her front driver's side pretty hard. So hard in fact that the car was completely totaled. But luckily my sister was fine. Both parties had insurance, they called the police to take an official report, and my parents started the hunt for a new car. Some time passes and they get a letter from the Suburban's insurance agency asking for our insurance to cover the cost of the damage done to the Suburban. The Suburban driver was alleging that my sister had been speeding through the parking lot and was therefore at fault. This was news to them. They grilled my sister, who swore up, down and sideways that she was not speeding, and actually that she was going much slower than normal because as the sun was setting it was hitting the windshield in such a way that made visibility difficult. After some digging they found in the police report the sheriff's deputy had noted that the mirror that was duct taped on fell straight down. So not only had my sister not been speeding, but she was very nearly or completely stopped at the time of the accident. My parents' insurance sent a letter back stating that my sister had not been at fault for this accident, and they were willing to accept the total they had paid for the car several months earlier, a paltry sum of $350. The lady who hit my sister responded back that she would not be paying for anything as she was very confident that she was not at fault, and told my parents that they would just have to take her to small claims court. My parents responded bet and did just that. In order to get all of the paperwork in line for small claims court they had to take this shitty little Geo Metro to an auto body shop and get an estimation for how much it would cost to replace the panels that this lady had totaled. Well, a car that old was difficult to find parts for, and so they were unable to find anything to replace the panels and the door. So they gave her a quote for how much it would be to repair those panels, as well as replace the tire and suspension bits that she messed up by backing into it. About $4,000. Just before court they did attempt to go to mediation with her to attempt to get her to just pay the $350 that they had initially bought the car for. Unfortunately, or fortunately, she was still convinced that she was not at fault. Long story short, my parents were awarded the full $4,000, as it was determined that the lady did not check behind her thoroughly enough before backing out of the parking spot. And that's how my parents made $3,000 on a $300 car. My car is worth very little? Okay, prove it, in great detail, by user SmallManBN8. My old car got into a very small bump that was just bad enough to crack something critical, which meant repairing it would just not be economical. My insurance people said they'd give me its market value, which according to them is $5,000. I did some research of my own, a big Excel spreadsheet was involved and lots of averaging, and found it was actually closer to $7,500. I didn't want to go full Karen on them from the start. I'm sure there's a logical, reasonable, compliant explanation, I just have to find it. It went on for weeks, y'all. I've shortened it a lot. I found car X worth $8,000 and car Y worth $6,000. How come there's still more than what you quoted me? Them, we can't consider the first one, it's in a different state. In my country this is like saying different astrology. But we will give you the price of the second one. They're both interstate. Why can you still consider the second one? Also I've just noticed, the second one has a worse odometer than mine. Are you saying a car in worse condition than mine is still worth more than what you quoted me? Them, look, it's a really good price. We didn't even take into account the delamination. Then by all means, take the delamination into account, as long as you can prove the price difference. I am actually begging you to throw the book at me and confound me with legal jargon. Give me something. Them, silence for several days. Look, government body says if I don't hear back within another 2 weeks I'm allowed to file a complaint. I understand you're busy, so I'll make it 3. I've also made a complaint to your customer service department making it clear I'm looking for either A, $7,500 according to my research, or B, a good reason why I should accept less. Receipts, laws, terms of service, paperwork, that sort of thing. If it takes a while to put together the facts, that's okay, letting me know that's what you're doing is fine too. If I can't get any of what I've asked for, I will have to ask government body if they can help sort this out. They responded within 5 minutes letting me know I was being transferred to a different rep. The new rep offered me all the hard facts I could ever hope for, and my $7,500. With a note that the price is only guaranteed if I don't go to that government body. I wasn't planning on it, now I have my facts lol. Dr. Insurance company tried to scare me into accepting less money than I'm worth, otherwise they'll bamboozle me with reasons to take it all away. I scared them right back by asking them to show their working and quoting my consumer rights directly from a government website. I won. So, insurance company, you won't give me a letter with a clean driving record, by user sat_puppy_eyes. I was grumbling about insurance companies in another thread, and led me to this memory. My wife was driving in Toronto many years ago. At an intersection, she waited at the red light, and then the advance green left arrow lit up and she started turning left. Other vehicles coming the opposite direction also had the same green left arrow for them to turn left. It's pretty standard stuff, everyone's been through those while driving. Unfortunately, the driver coming straight the other direction wasn't paying attention. He saw the vehicle next to him start moving, turning left, so he did too, going straight, through the red light, and crashing into my wife. So I call the insurance company. I'm thinking this is pretty straightforward, my wife was legally turning left, but he ran a red light and hit her. Nay, they tell me, my wife was turning left, so regardless of right of way, she's deemed equally at fault. She should have anticipated someone would run the red light and waited to make sure he was going to obey the law. I grumbled, but they stood firm. That ruling was horseshit, but it wasn't a fight I was going to win. The damage was mostly cosmetic to the side of the car, $4,000 to repair, but the car was perfectly drivable and wasn't unsafe. It was also an older second vehicle we rarely drove anyways. So, instead of getting it repaired and watching my rates subsequently go up 100% for the next 5 years, we shrugged and told the insurance company that we wouldn't claim it and take care of it ourselves. Fast forward 9 months, and we're moving somewhat unexpectedly to another province. My insurance company doesn't have jurisdiction in that province, so I need to change companies. I do, and new company wants a copy of my clean history from old insurance company. When I contact old insurance company, the female employee at the counter tells me that they can't give me a clean driving record because we were in an at-fault accident, so they will have to tell the new insurance company that. I give them my best "are you fricking kidding me" look. She refuses to budge. Rules are rules, and it would be dishonest. Rules are rules? Okay, I go home and I look up the company's rules. It seems that I have 1 year to process a claim. I come back an hour later, and smile at the nice lady. I tell her that if I'm going to get held liable for the accident on my record, I damn well might as well fix it. I'll have it fixed, get a rental car throughout, and basically run the repair bill as high as I legally can. And then I'll send a notice to the company head office explaining what I did and why I did it, advising them that I admired your integrity, reading her name tag Ms. Karen Smith, in not providing the letter, even though you cost your company over $5,000 in unnecessary expenses. I got a long pause. Well, maybe we can find a workaround. And 10 minutes later, she ended up providing me a letter, stating that I had a claims-free driving history with the old insurance company. Not accident-free, claims-free. That satisfied the new insurance company, and life went on. Man, insurance companies are the devil.